one, the suspects charged in the 2024 murders of 13-year-old Lamont Freeman and his friend 13-year-old Jacody Davis took their seats inside a Fulton County courtroom for day 3 of a preliminary hearing, which will determine if there's sufficient evidence for the men to stand trial.
So I think that we are ready to begin.
An APD detective who asked us not to show her face because she's involved in undercover investigations took the stand for more than 2 hours. She testified that investigators used social media posts and wiretaps to determine that the 7 defendants are members or associates of the Goodfellas criminal street gang. Police say the shooting stemmed from a gang war sparked by rapper Lil Baby, who they claim is affiliated with the rival criminal street gang 4PF.
Yo, face! Show your face, please! With sugar on top!
Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know my slogan. I don't know it all, but I know what I've been through. Now, before we get into this video, make sure you check us out on Patreon at www.patreon.com/Hookah Anonymous _. You guys been telling us to create one for the longest, so we recently created a community where we will upload videos that we can't share on YouTube due to their guidelines. We'll also be dropping the latest to there first, behind the scenes information that you wouldn't find anywhere else on our socials. So make sure you become a member, and after you do that, head over to our official Instagram page at Hookah Anonymous _ and follow us there. Now, without further ado, let's get into what you guys came here to see. Now, I think we all can agree that things lately have been spiraling out of control for Atlanta rapper Lil Baby, and it seemed like it's only getting worse. Just yesterday, we reported that a possible RICO is on the horizon for Lil Baby and other 4PF affiliates. Now, despite him disclaiming 4PF and saying that he's not tied to it anymore in any shape, form, or fashion, just like I told y'all before, the law doesn't work like that. You can't just claim something, and then once you feel like the walls are closing in, you could just denounce it and think that whatever case they've been building against you is going to go away, because it don't work like that. And even before Lil Baby denounced his affiliation with 4PF, it's been talks about a possible RICO coming down for 4PF and other gangs within Atlanta, since Fannie Willis, who is the mayor of Atlanta, made it very clear that more RICOs will be coming after the YSL one. If y'all remember, it was an alleged list of targeted groups in Atlanta, and 4PF was at the top. Now, we haven't heard much about it up until yesterday, when it would be stated by Sean Hoover, who is the manager of the Georgia Public Defenders Council Specialized Unit, that they were gearing up for a RICO indictment for 4PF due to their feud with a rival gang in Atlanta known as OMF, aka Only My Family. Now, if you're wondering why all of this is coming back up, well, it's because OMF and Goodfella mob members recently appeared in court for unalivings that they are allegedly responsible for, and during their court appearance, Lil Baby's name have came up yet again, and this time is due to him allegedly putting money on people's heads, as it was discussed on Wiretaps amongst OMF and GF members.
One by one, the suspects charged in the 2024 murders of 13-year-old Lamont Freeman and his friend 13-year-old Jacody Davis took their seats inside a Fulton County courtroom for day 3 of a preliminary hearing, which will determine if there's sufficient evidence for the men to stand trial.
So I think that we are ready to begin.
An APD detective who asked us not to show her face because she's involved in undercover investigations took the stand for more than 2 hours. She testified that investigators used social media posts and wiretaps to determine that the 7 defendants are members or associates of the Goodfellas criminal street gang. Police say the shooting stemmed from a gang war sparked by rapper Lil Baby, who they claim is affiliated with the rival criminal street gang 4PF. Last May, police say the hip-hop superstar filmed a music video in their territory and multiple people were shot, which investigators say sparked the gang war. The attorney for Lil Baby called those claims complete and total nonsense and added that his client had absolutely nothing to do with those shootings. During cross-examination today, defense attorney Brian Tevis criticized the investigation and claimed that investigators did not have any evidence that proves his client was involved or even in a gang.
I've been photographed with Chief Justice John Roberts. Am I a member of the Supreme Court?
Is the Supreme Court a gang?
Well, they're affiliated in fact. There's 3 or more members, and if any of them commits a crime, you would say they're in a gang, right?
If they commit criminal street gang activity.
Yeah, some of the back and forth that we saw during cross-examination. Now, again, this is going to continue next Monday at 12:30, and at that point, the judge will decide if there's enough evidence for these suspects to stand trial. We're live in downtown Atlanta. Michael Seiden, Channel 2 Action News.
So for clarity purposes, no, they don't seem to have him on wiretaps putting money on people's heads, but instead, there's others discussing it, in which prosecutors is just using all of this as ammunition to fuel the potential RICO they have coming for Lil Baby and 4PF. Now for the ones that's saying, well, how can they involve Lil Baby in a RICO when they don't have him saying or doing anything? Well, if you pay attention to what they did to Lil Durk, you can easily see that that's the same thing they're fixing to do with Lil Baby. As a rapper or anybody that's a public figure, you have to watch your surroundings because the people you may call your friends or even family can be the reason behind your demise. This is because as a person in Lil Baby's position, having guys around him that's still in the streets can drag you into something whether you're aware of it or not. In this case, like we explained in the previous video, aside from the 4PF members we don't know about that's doing what they're doing in the streets, for the ones that we do, such as Dirty Tay and Nate, who Lil Baby have been vocal publicly about supporting, we know that these two guys both have been responsible for shootings and bodies dropping according to the courts. 4PF Dirty Tay was arrested when he would see his op coming out the barbershop with his son and proceeded to fire shots trying to unalive him. Unfortunately, but fortunately, the victim's toddler child was struck in the head. However, the kid managed to survive the shooting. He was later arrested for the shooting, and even then he was in possession of a firearm when he was taken into custody. Then you have Nate, who was accused of catching 2 bodies and have since been sentenced to over 15 years in prison for his involvement. Lil Baby have been heard and seen on wax saying free both of them, and at a point in time they all have repped the 4PF moniker, affiliating them to be under the same umbrella. Aside from that, allegedly, 4PF have been responsible for a lot of shootings and body dropping in Atlanta and have been on APD's radar mainly for their beef with OMF. So with Lil Baby being as big as he is as an artist and looked at as the breadwinner, it's easy for police to say that Lil Baby is funding the criminal organization within 4PF, whether he really is or not. It's all about perception and what they could prove, and it's up to you to defend yourself if or when the time comes. Now, according to a woman who goes by the name Infamous Sylvia, who covers court content and trials, she would tweet saying, quote, "Investigator Viverito is on the stand. We are listening to wiretap calls. Someone mentioned that Lil Baby had tickets on some people's head." Now someone in the comments said, quote, "Somebody on the wiretap said that, or is that just what they are claiming?" Which was a good question, and she responded saying, quote, "She is claiming it, but I have to listen again later. I'll be going live after I get out." So basically they may have used slang terminology, and the investigator may be just putting it together and took it as him putting money on his rivals' heads, but the thing with that is you have to prove it in order for something like that to stick. See, I think one of the main reasons we haven't seen a RICO come yet for Lil Baby is they know that coming for him, they have to come correct. Mainly because Lil Baby has the money to fight the case, and he has the money that'll allow him to retain some of the best attorneys. We've seen him with Drew Finnelan, who is a top lawyer within the music industry who have represented almost everybody, but this is also the same attorney that represented Donald Trump. So this is the level of representation the city of Atlanta is up against, which is why I think they know they have to come correct. Now, one of the most recent situations that have them tying Lil Baby into all of this is due to a video shoot that he called himself trying to shoot in his rival's neighborhood. According to reports, Lil Baby willingly shot a music video in his Opps neighborhood, which was OMF territory, and the shooting broke out. As a result, multiple people were hit, but it didn't stop there because a rival Goodfella member that was locked up at the time allegedly sent individuals to slide on Lil Baby in 4PF territory after catching wind of the video shoot in a retaliatory shooting. As a result of that, a shooting took place and 2 young kids were struck. A kid celebrating his 14th birthday would pass away due to his injuries, and the police have been blaming Lil Baby for the shooting, stating that all of this transpired because he decided to shoot the music video and taunt his ops. Now, I don't think that'll be able to stick because Lil Baby didn't have anything to do with it physically. However, it's all just playing a part if they are in fact trying to build a RICO case against Lil Baby. Now, before we end the video, let me say this. You know why I don't pay the beef anymore? Well, to be honest with you, it never did. But what I'm saying is, nowadays, it's really pointless because there's no street code, no morals, no values, no principles, no nothing amongst the streets. You got ops telling on their ops. You got guys telling on their own guys. Technology is through the roof, so it's borderline impossible to get away with anything. Then snitching is at an all-time high because, for one, you don't know who's doing it, and 2, people are getting paid salaries. right? This isn't like the old days where, cooperate with us. No, they're paying people's salaries to infiltrate these groups. It's not always good police work. 9 times out of 10, it's never good police work. It's just the fact that they have inside intel because they're paying people's salaries now. You got to think about it, right? Let's say they approach somebody that's homeless or just doing bad, down on their luck, but they know that they can get them to tell on so-and-so. You think that person isn't going to tell? Right? You think that person isn't going to tell? At the end of the day, they feel, well, what's the worst that could happen to me? I don't have anything anyway. So if something does happen to me, then put me out of my misery. But as of right now, I need to do this to get by. And that's what people are doing. But the ultimate above it all for me is both sides beefing with each other usually ends up with the same fate of y'all both going to jail. The police end up taking y'all down, and now both parties end up in jail fighting for their lives. So it's a lose-lose situation when you sit back and think about it. These days, if you don't get caught by your ops, he'll definitely get caught by the cop. Simple as that. And if you pay attention to the video, they mention social media once again. I don't know what it's going to take for guys to realize, but almost every past RICO case we've been seeing amongst these rappers, social media has been playing a very big part. Just the other day, they said 40% of the RICO involving Big U and Loose Cannon and them is due to what they dug up on social media, from posts to podcast interviews and etc. 40%. I don't think people realize how huge that is, but that should be a sign to stop putting incriminating things on social media. It's almost like the more y'all think they not watching, the more they are. And they want you to believe that they're not watching so you can continue to put foolish things that incriminate you on social media, making their job that much easier. But anyway, y'all jump in the comments and let me know what y'all think about all this. How do y'all feel about a possible RICO coming for Lil Baby and 4PF? And do you think it's truth to it, or it's just propaganda like it's been in the past? Let us know, man. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'm going to keep on dropping. I'm out.